If we manage to hit 8 hours with this podcast, I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Okay, we are live. Hello, everybody. Postscript of the Brony Crusaders here, and welcome to episode 3 of Bronies Synonymous. This episode's title is called "What's in a Mark?" We're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk about cutie marks for a while, head canons or show canons, or even stories of our own cutie marks. And feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below about your own stories or what you have to say to join in the discussion for yourselves. Here with me we have Starlight Ginger Pony.
Hello, my little pony. It's a pleasure to see you all again.
And we have Sapphire Heartsong.
What's up, bitches?
We also have Anime Wolf Gamer.
Hello.
Why did you leave bacon on the floor?
And we have Elama, correct? That is so not how I've said it over the course of the past 7 years. But yes, we have Alana here.
Hi.
And my co-host here is Rose Powell, or Rosie Seekers.
Hey there, every pony.
And of course I am Postscript. So let's go ahead and get started here. Where do we want to start our conversation off? We recently had an episode here that showed a hell of a lot of stuff having to do with cutie marks.
Cutie marks should be cute. It is in the name. Cutie marks. Most of these new cutie marks are not cute.
And apparently
Okay.
off by going into a rant.
You know, if I could say one thing about, like, you know, after, like, the Crusaders of the Lost Ark, I want to say that I'm really glad that the writers did not went a predictable route after the first introduction. Many people suspected that it's going to be the cutie marks from the Showstoppers. Everybody keeps expecting that, and I am glad that they did not went there. I'm really glad for that.
That's not as bad as what I got after the cutie marks got revealed. I was in the Star Trek Online group chat up on Skype, and I forget who it was, but they made a mention like, now that the cutie mark Crusaders have their cutie marks, does that mean they're legal now?
Oh my god.
Legal in the drinking.
At which point that asshole got assaulted by at least 3 of us in the chat.
Legal in the Japanese 14-year-old way.
Yeah,
I
sure,
don't
let's
wanna think
go with
that.
But anyways, outside of that commentary,
Diamond Tiara was really cute in that episode. Just saying.
I think they actually created her as a real character that episode. She had her faults, she had her motivations, and you got to see a lot of what her backstory was. There's a lot more I want to say about the episode, but I'm trying to save much of what I want to say about that particular episode to go alongside with my surprise collab partner on it. But for now, yeah, like we can talk about the cutie marks.
If I say one last thing about it is that it makes sense now. Because I was always curious because Filthy Rich seems like he's a really responsible parent. Like when he found out that his daughter was being mean to Apple Bloom, he forced her, you know, to join in.
He actually didn't do that until they pretty much figured out, hey, this shit works. So you're going to go do it too to make sure that this shit works. It was still a business move on his part to get his daughter to do what...
He's still also trying to better his daughter. And so I was always kind of shocked that, yes, you can spoil a kid, but if you give them good directions, usually that does make, which now makes sense that if her mother spent more time with her and was, you know, forming her to be the way she was, and that makes sense. But anyways, I'll let it be. As I will say, though, that, I don't know, I still think her cutie mark is stupid.
You know, if I could say one thing, this is sort of like, you know, a lot of people compare Diamond Tiara's situation to Troubleshoes at the same, like, having that they don't really know what they really meant to do. I can see why. The only difference is this: is that I think Diamond Tiara already knows what she's gonna do. It's just that her mother's teaching is more like treat everyone like shit, and then everybody will bow down to you.
Well, we can go off onto a whole rant about that anyways, but...
Also, I also will remark that when everyone was calling for Diamond Tiara to be burned at the stake, I was firmly against it.
Well, that was.
There's plenty of Diamond Tiara lovers out there that I guarantee were screaming in delight with the ending of Crusaders of the Lost Mark, though I'm actually wondering exactly how much they plan on changing her character from here on out. But that's a whole other story. Back to cutie marks.
Okay. Can I just say that cutie marks are a very weird thing. They can either be straightforward, like Applejack is good at, farming apples. Also, Apple Bloom's cutie mark doesn't have anything to do with the apple farm, so one has to wonder what her role is going to be on the farm. Maybe she'll be like the negotiator for like sales or something.
I think we've already figured out that doesn't work.
I think it's more like representing her love for her family. That's the best. That's the best that most people can come up with. I know there's another answer that some fans have mentioned. I just don't remember what it is.
I'm sure we'll find out soon enough.
I blame tradition.
I think it's cool, but it's also a little bit corny, though, that they all match.
The cutie marks themselves are hideous. They're just the ugliest cutie marks I've ever seen. They don't match any of
They
them.
have an awful design. I mean, I'm sure it took them a really long time to, like, come up with the design for it, but it's just terrible. They could have done something better.
I will say that maybe they should have went, like, the thing is that they went with the colors of the, the capes that they have. They were probably trying to recreate that. The only thing is that I kind of wish they decided to give the colors. They kind of clashed a little too much. I think they should have went with different colors, like maybe since it has 3 colors underneath, they should have chose a light, a dark, and a pale color so that way it could at least look better.
Or do like the little symbols within the shield and do them in those colors and make them larger and just do away with the shield completely.
Yeah, either
that. Some uniformity to it.
Although, if I will say this, like, I like how they actually show that, like, the thing is that, while I am kind of disappointed at how it went, mostly because I'd rather they go with the one cutie mark at a time, because I feel like that would have been a good story arc. At the same time, it's actually kind of logical when you think back of all the CMC episodes. They show that they tried everything and they at least had some knowledgeable field about it.
I thought that the episode that they would finally get their cutie marks would be the one where they did the play, where they all displayed different strong talents. I thought that was going to be it.
You mean like that Flight to the Finish? Is that what you meant?
I think she means the one with Luna.
I thought it was the one where they organized and put together a play.
She's talking about the episode The Showstoppers, but that was back in like season 1.
Yeah. That's the one. I mean, I know it was a while ago, but I thought that was going to be the one.
They were focusing on the wrong things. Like they were doing things that neither one, like the other one, should have been doing. Sorry. Some self are just a really fascinating thing in self. Like having a mark that tells you what you are is nice and all, but what if you don't understand it? Like I always thought that Rainbow Dash misunderstood her mark.
Well, she's not only a weather manager, which we've seen her do on multiple occasions, but she's also got her passion for speed. It's why she has that lightning bolt shape.
And the sonic rain boom talent.
I always thought that, yes, she's talented, but I also thought that maybe what her actual talent was persevering, like how a rainbow comes out after a storm. Think about it. Like, she was knocked out of the race, and she managed to come through in the end and win it. So she shined through at the end.
Which race are you talking about? Because she's taken part in a lot of them.
Her one where she got her cutie.
The one where she saves Fluttershy?
Yeah.
No, she doesn't save Fluttershy. She
defends her honor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that that's what it kind of means, that Rainbow Dash is capable of shining through even after the worst of things, you know? Like, speed's important. Like, I think her cutie mark incorporates that, but I also think that main thing is that, like a rainbow, she comes out after the worst of it.
She
Better
doesn't
for
classify
it.
herself as. She doesn't classify herself as having the stamina to have that kind of perseverance, though. Because in. Which episode was it? Rarity Investigates. She
Yeah.
straight up admits that she doesn't have the endurance to try and beat this record that everyone's expecting her to be able to beat. But anyway, outside of that,
Yes, I'll bring in my perspectives. Well, when I saw that when the CMC finally got the cutie marks, I was really overjoyed that they finally achieved their goal. And I really like the cutie mark designs. Not just because because they all they got them all at once at the same time with the shields, but they did still retain some of their their own individualities in them. So, like with Applebu's key mark, it was along with the shield, it was a heart in the apple, which demonstrates like her individuality of always being there for a family. Sweetie Belle with the shield, it was the star and musical note, which represents that she is actually like conquering to perform on stage, and also she likes to sing. And with Scootaloo, with the Pegasus wing and the lightning bolt, it represents all the individuality of determination, and also like when she does like all the Scootaloo things. But the concept I like about all of the cutie marks is that we've seen them grow throughout the series. When they were first formed, they called the cutie, all the way to Apple's Most Wanted when they held troubleshoots, and also the recent episode, and also. And also it demonstrated that Diamond Tiara, like in the Call of the Cutie when she was introduced, like she was the main foe for the CMC, and she is the one who keeps pushing them to actually try and achieve different ways to try to get their cutie marks. And this was like the final obstacle they have to go through together, and they also deserve the cutie marks because they helped Diamond Tiara discover that she can be a better pony than the pony that she normally was, despite all the actions she had in the past. Like when she teased Scootaloo about her flying in flights to the finish, and that was like the real low for character. But this episode was the real turning point for her, because now she's using her talents to actually be like a leader of some sorts by opening rebuilding all of the playground. And when it comes to,
sorry. Continue. Sorry.
And sorry, that's alright. And also, in terms of the other cutie marks, I like because there was the thing in the Rift Cafe channel. It was the game show they did, and it was with Sweetie and Robin. And the question he had in that game was to explain what their theories about cutie marks are in 3 minutes. And I like the explanation that Sweetie Blue gave about cutie marks. So, like, for characters such as Cherry and Rarity, is where there's like Cherry's cutie mark is 3 smiling flowers, and many people think that she is a gardener, but it actually represents that that she wants to learn to help their own fillies and foals grow in terms of their learning, and also to make them maybe more happy. And with Rarity as a cutie mark is with 3 gems. And you really expect her to be her cutie mark to be a sewing machine, as her special talent is to create fabulous dresses. But in turn, like the 3 gems are actually representing her talent of finding gems to make her dresses all completely nice. So it comes like the perspective on what we're trying to identify what a certain special talent is. And what Robin thought of as answer what cutie bugs are, it brings to Magical Mystery Cure. When Twilight accidentally casts a spell that changes the destinies of her friends and their cutie marks. And I like the concept he brought up about it's actually kind of like a mind switch, so to speak. So, like, for example, Fluttershy's cutie mark was replaced with Pinkie Pie's cutie mark. and she was not being like the fun and entertaining and spreading joy to others like Pinkie Pie does. Whilst Pinkie Pie had Applejack's cutie mark, which turns her into her Pinkamena state, and she tries to help at the apple farm, but ended up miserably at it. And also, when Twilight came to fixing the spell, not only she changed the destinies of her friends, but she kind of understand what the final spell was going to be, and that is with using friendship. And that's when she goes into the Starry Dimension, where Prince Celeste meets up with her. She explains that Starsword the Bearded did not understand the concept of friendship when he mastered his final spell, and that is how she became the 4th Alicorn Princess of Equestria. So yeah, that's a theory, a cutie mark theory.
Actually, there's a lot more explanations about cutie marks that I think have been done better. About at least Rarity's cutie mark specifies the 3 gems because that's how she finds her voice in expressing herself in her work. And we got to see it during, was it Candlelight Boutique? I believe,
Yeah.
when she was creating a princess dress and changed it up, and you got to see the light in her eyes, and it actually brightened up the room around her as well, because the animators are awesome like that. And it shows that through using these gems on the same dress, she makes a new dress and expresses herself in a new way. I go into that a little bit on my LGBT video, because one of the things that I talk about is self-expression. But also, outside of that, there's a huge difference between the main 6's cutie marks and the Cutie Mark Crusaders cutie marks. And we were talking about this before the podcast, and in fact before Rosie got here, about how the Cutie Mark Crusaders cutie marks are not necessarily built to the design of the ponies themselves, rather than as a group. Whereas everyone else that we've seen, it's been their cutie mark designs are pretty much built for their ponies, whether it be with the same general angle design or the same color scheme or whatever along those lines. And we were talking about some of
them. Their cutie marks were clearly connected to each other.
Yep.
Do what?
Slim and Flam from Super Sweeties, Battery Sweeties.
So
I
about
thought
the
that was kind of
brothers
interesting.
from Super Speedy Side Squeeze 6000.
Thank you.
Nobody could say it right.
If I can also add another thing.
Super
here.
Speedy? No.
Super Speedy Cider Squeezy 6000.
Super
We
Speedy.
should make a tongue twister of that.
I'm pretty sure it already is.
Also, can I add? Here's something I also want to add. Like, that with troubleshoot, how they managed to help troubleshoes with that. I believe, here's also that is also what I think that's, a lot of people seems to miss that because, since that episode's not well received. But I could say that I think that's the writer's way of saying that that's their foreshadowing of how it led up to this, and not to mention that not to mention that it seems that they actually incorporated all the Cutie Mark episodes on how they learned these new things, and they managed to incorporate it on when other people needed help on figuring out their sense of what their talent is. Oh, and speaking of which, here's something very interesting. They say that now that Diamond Tiara knows what she can do, they say that if it's they say that a possible headcanon will be that she will be the future mayor of Ponyville, which I actually hope that actually happens. I'm really hoping for that.
I think it'd be interesting at this point if they continue leading up to it. The My Little Pony movie in 2017, or is it 2016? I think it's 2017.
2017.
Yeah, the My Little Pony movie that comes up in 2017, if it winds up being like the ending of Digimon Adventure 2 was, where they advanced the story and the characters several years into the future, and you get to see where they actually wound up. I think it'd be kind of cool to see Diamond Tiara as the mayor of Ponyville or whatever she happens to be, and the Cutie Mark Crusaders are doing this or that, or you get to see where the main 6 end up, if they wind up ending up with certain ponies.
I bet they start a business. The Cutie Mark Crusaders? I bet they start a business. Or like they start little hubs everywhere, and so that way then ponies without cutie marks can join a club in like each school, and like they go around to each school helping people get cutie marks or understand their cutie marks.
That would be interesting to see.
Although, now that the Crusaders have their marks, there is one thing that concerns me.
Well,
What's that, Safi?
What if Starlight Glimmer gets a hold of them after all that time?
Didn't Equestria
Damn
Girls
you, Starlight Glimmer!
Didn't Equestria Girls 3 kinda
Charade.
ending for everyone? I'm not gonna say the spoiler.
I know. But what if, like, Starlight Glimmer ended up getting a hold of the Crusaders? I feel so bad for them after 5 seasons of suffering with them, of trying to find out what their special talent is, and then it's suddenly ripped away like that.
Well,
How terrible would that be?
What
Well-
exactly would happen to them then? Because
Well-
their
It would be
special
miserable
talent wasn't
because their
necessarily
stream
revealed until
is
quite a
gone.
long ways away. Although I do kind of see what you mean about, because over the course of the past 5 years, we've gotten to really see them grow. When you spend that much time and energy involved in even a fictional character's life, you really kind of get invested in it, and you want them to succeed. So it's kind of cool.
I know, but then having it ripped away by Starlight Glimmer, I mean, you would know that they'd get it back later on, but still, that'd be horrible.
It would actually show characters like their most like broken emotional state.
Oh my
Okay.
god, your Abby on the screen.
This would be me.
Either that or just have either that or people actually cheering for it, considering their like, I can design better cutie marks than that.
Oh, shut up.
Everybody's going to say that, but really, how many people are honestly in that position where they have to design something that's going to be a game changer for something that so many people have been invested in for so long?
Yeah, people, no matter what, would have liked the cutie marks. Either they would have given them the cutie marks they were supposedly supposed to get.
Hey, Starlight, you're really quiet.
Okay, so either they could have gotten the cutie marks that we were hinted at during Showbusters, and then some people would be pissed off. Really? We waited all that time to get something that was hinted at in season 1? Or we would have gotten something completely different. No matter what, there were going to be people that were unhappy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do, you're never going to be able to please all the people all the time. I like
Girl,
that.
I know how seeing that feels.
Okay, so we've definitely talked a lot about the Cutie Mark Crusaders cutie marks. Do we have any show or headcanons that we haven't already explained?
Began.
I have a little headcanon about, although it hasn't explained in either the show or in the OMB comics, but I have a pretty good idea on about Sunset Shimmer, because like her cutie mark is different than Princess Celestia's sun cutie mark, but well, it's Sunset's cutie mark, which is a different shimmering sun. I have not quite sure how to gonna put it, but I might as well give it a try anyway. But we know from the first Equestria Girls film and also the little comic prequel that led to the first Equestria Girls movie that she was a former student of Princess Celestia, like Twilight is, and I think she gained a cutie mark where she kind of mastered a really great spell, I think. And it's starting to like something to do like bringing lights on each other's lives. I think. I'm not quite sure, but I think that it might could have led to her being getting a cutie mark. And like, if they explain more about Sansa's character in any of the future films how she got a cutie mark, I think they'll explain a few things. I'm just saying anyway.
An interesting thought about her cutie mark, by the way. Cutie. An interesting thought about Sunset Shimmer's cutie mark, by the way. Has anyone else noticed that out of all of Twilight's foils that we've seen over the course of the past several years, be Trixie, Sunset, and plus Starlight Glimmer, plus basically every single person we've seen, they've all had stars in their cutie mark.
Or unicorns.
Sunset Shimmer is the only one who has a sun.
Which is technically a star.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this is a different... We are quite literally talking about the differences between day and night at this point. So I think she was honestly built to be Twilight's opposite. She really was built to be Twilight's opposite.
I like to think that because if she gets wings at like the end of like Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks, I like to think that maybe she's on her way to becoming an alicorn, and with her son Cutie Mark, maybe she'll take over for Princess Celestia for raising the sun.
She's a part of the Equestria Girls realm. She's not a part of. She's not a part of Equestria.
What's going to do when she's done with high school?
Like to be fair, I honestly think. Sorry, wait, continue.
I feel like she'd have problems moving away from the magic, so she might end up just going back to Equestria.
If I could say one thing, I'm pretty sure that maybe I know that maybe someday they'll try to do that, probably in the MLP comics, because there's like, if they actually try to connect to the Equestria Girls to the main series, that's gonna be a really difficult challenge, especially after how the third movie kind of shows that it was meant to air after the season end.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I haven't seen the new movie yet, so.
Oh, I'm not gonna spoil, but I'm not gonna spoil, but you're gonna. However, if you're gonna avoid spoilers, do not watch the end credits. I repeat, do not watch it.
Yeah, I think that everybody has already seen the movie at this point.
I have not.
Oh.
Well, I'm
Don't
just
watch the end credits.
No more talk about the movie then.
I'm just warning her not to.
I just thought that was kind of an interesting connection between Twilight's and Sunset Shimmer's cutie marks because of how different they are. Because they, at least to me in design, seem to be exact opposites. One is meant to be the day, one is meant to be the night. And
it could be like
it's probably not going to happen, but it would be kind of interesting to see Sunset Shimmer and Twilight Sparkle take over for Celestia and Luna after they retire.
This is going to seem kind of weird, but in a weird way, that's kind of like seasons, like how. Anyway, in a weird way, I could compare like the whole day-night cycle to seasons, because like Twilight, it's sort of night, but sort of starting to turn into the day, while the sunset is the day turning to the night. And like winter would be Luna, summer would be Celestia, fall would be Twilight, and I don't know, spring would be Sunset. I know that seems weird, but that's how I compare it to.
I like to think that if Discord had a cutie mark, it would be the golden apple of chaos.
Actually, Discord already has a cutie mark. It's a tornado.
Oh yeah, when
he was a pony.
Yeah, I remember that.
I must have missed that episode.
That doesn't necessarily.
No, I think it was
It was the season 4 finale, part 1.
Yeah.
Like before Tarek tried to capture Discord to steal his cutie mark.
And there was another thing I want to bring up about Discord. Remember in the Maiden Friends We Keep Discord? You know when he arrived at the Grand Galloping Gala? I saw on this little cane he had, it had like because I've seen an artwork on DeviantArt somewhere that could be Discord's another way of Discord's cutie mark. It was like a little circle and it had like loads of arrows on the outside. And I've seen an artwork of that somewhere. There could be another cutie mark for Discord. Which I thought it was
Apparently,
pretty cool.
Discord has many cutie marks. Maybe that's the nature of chaos.
Maybe.
Oh yeah. Also, here's the thing I want to add. Here's the thing I also want to add to the cutie mark thing. You know, here's something that Appaloosa's Most Wanted did that many people say that it was a continuity error. But however, I see it as this way. Basically, when you get when there comes to a cutie mark that you're hoping to aim for, here's the thing. What if some ponies actually don't fully understand what they were trying to do specifically? Like, you know, Troubleshoes and Diamond Tiara. Troubleshoes' problem is basically he wants to get into the rodeo and be a rodeo star, but there are many different ways of doing that, and he probably got confused and didn't know how to do that. And as for Diamond Tiara, she was taught in a different way of how she was actually supposed to do with her cutie mark about commanding people and all that. However, she didn't realize there was like another way of doing that without being a little spoiled brat.
Okay, and Grant?
I have another little headcanon, and this is for Trixie. About her, she got a cutie mark. And I've seen a little fan animation on YouTube about it. In the animation, when she was a filly, she and the pony that seems to look like be her dad, because he is a stage magician like she is as well, and she had been watching him in his shows, like doing all the cool tricks and that, and then but it turns out that he turns out to be a bit of a fraud, and it made all the other ponies who've been watching his shows really mad at him for it. And Trixie felt really ashamed of how her dad turned into a failure, but then she tries to do a cool magic tricks, and everyone is really in wonder of all the tricks that she did, and when she performed her very first magic show, and after all the ponies who watched the show all gazed in wonder and applauded for it, she gains a cutie mark of a wand with stardust. And so that is a cool backstory for Trixie's cutie mark, I say. The great and powerful Trixie! Yes, peanut butter crackers.
I cannot roll my R's, so I'm impressed that you can do it.
Well, to tell you the truth, I can't do
That is still
do
one of the
anything
best
either.
lines in the first movie. The great and powerful Trixie! Need some peanut butter crackers. Voila!
Voila!
Yeah, we've gone through canon explanations of cutie marks. We've gone through plenty of headcanons of cutie marks. My headset's fucking up. Okay. So yeah, we've been through headcanons of cutie marks. We've been through canon explanation of cutie marks. What about your own guys' cutie marks? We've got some interesting ones in the call here.
Mine is a literal sense of my name. It really is. It literally has a sapphire piled on top of a heart with like a music bass in the background, or what's it called? I used to take music class. I should know what it is. It's a staff,
Clef.
I believe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Clef, staff,
What's
score.
that?
There's several words correlating to it.
I'm literally Sapphire Heart song.
If you want to hear mine, I'm sorry, were you not done?
Nah, I'm good.
Well, mine actually correlates to, well, as everyone's cutie mark does, my special talent. And course, that goes into backstory. But as some of you might know, Starlight is a shapeshifter. And how she actually got her cutie mark was that she was able to mimic people's voices very precisely. And as such, her cutie mark is that of a star microphone, which is, well, because she's able to mimic people's voices. And so it's a microphone. That's about it. Not exactly that exciting. Sorry.
Okay.
Rosie's is absolutely adorable.
My cutie mark is a pencil drawing a heart, and it represents not only my creativity, because I am a digital designer, an artist, and I love to do all things creative, but also it represents spreading the passion and the kindness and compassion towards others. Because I'm because I'm a kind, gentle, and great at giving advice to people, and whenever they feel down.
It's very cute.
Rosie is amazing and wonderful, and not that I'm totally biased or anything.
Yeah, you're not totally biased.
Me to you, and me to all of you.
Such favoritism.
I know, you want to be ashamed of yourself, postscript. Bad pony. Bad.
How about you, Anime? You got a story for your cutie mark?
Yeah, mostly, basically, it was like when I first joined into this fandom, when pony OCs are starting to become a thing. When I decided that I wanted to. My cutie mark is basically a book with a pencil over it, because since high school, I was friends with a lot of teachers throughout my years there, and one of them was seriously, I don't understand why I cannot pronounce that word. Well, a writing teacher. One of them is a writing teacher, and she managed to help me. She managed to help me a lot, and especially show me the possibilities of writing. And then I took an interest ever since.
Okay. How about you, Alana?
I'm a blank flank. I have no idea. I have tried and tried to figure out what my cutie mark might be, and I just have no idea. I'm a blank flank.
We've been searching for cutie marks for a while now.
See, at first, I was kind of thinking, red musical notes with, instead of the circle at the bottom, it'd be a heart, because my passions tend to be music and love and romance, but I also enjoy writing, and I'm really good at that, and I have no idea.
It's okay, it just means you're full of potential.
Yay!
Which, by the way, now the Cutie Mark Crusaders are no longer full of potential. All those speeches that people have given to them about not having cutie marks, great. It means you're full of potential and endless possibilities. Now you no longer have endless possibility. You're stuck with what you got.
I know one thing.
That was Sweetie Bloom and Scootaloo, or Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo themselves, who gave that speech. By the way, that was not anybody else.
I know.
I know one
While
thing.
inspiring, it is one way of looking at it.
One thing is for sure, it is not a diaper or baby powder or a bottle or anything like that, because I suck at the shit.
It's okay, not everyone can be Button's mom.
His mom has got it going. I'm going to end that right there. My cutie mark actually came from my character's background story in such a sense, and it's also kind of a mark for myself, because there's this whole background story and detailed history I'd like to give of Postscript eventually, but nobody seems to care about it. But as far as the cutie mark is concerned, it basically represents the scroll is a blank slate, quite literally. And while the quill is red, the blank slate can represent pretty much what I start with, whether I am doing my drawing or my writing. The red quill represents pretty much me going back and editing and changing stuff and making sure basically it's spelling and grammar check, whether that be on words or tweaking the lines in my line work to make it look a little bit better, which apparently I didn't do well enough with my recent Ask Nerdy Derpy response.
Oh, so cute. That's
I'm just thinking of I must not tell lies. I must not tell lies. I must not tell lies.
But yeah, that's pretty much what
Let's go into
that represents is the blank slate, whether I'm drawing or writing what I begin with. And the red quill represents the fact that I'm always trying to make it better.
I think another part of my dilemma is in creating an OC, I'm not sure if I want to create an OC of me, my human, not online self, or Alana, because Alana and me are completely different people. I think that's a lot of identity dilemma that comes into creating a cutie mark that I haven't found yet.
That's true. Me and Starlight couldn't be different from each other. I mean, she's just very different from me. She's always happy and so sweet.
She turns into an anime character when she starts voicing herself.
I see that.
But she's so adorable. I love my little Starlight. She's so sweet and innocent. She's adorable.
Meanwhile, you yourself are absolutely not. You're not at all innocent.
Aww.
But
Don't say stuff like that.
I thought of something. If you make your OC, Ilana, you should definitely have your cutie mark just be Cicero.
I could have it be his little hammer.
Guys, I have to go take care of some things, and I need, sorry. Bye.
That's right. We're glad to get your input.
And you make it sound so bad, like you're not innocent at all. You make it sound like I'm capable of murder or something.
Oh, come on, you know I'm not trying to mean it like that.
I have to go as well. I have to go pick up my husband.
No.
Alright, well, we can always talk later.
Right, I'm sure I will see you later tonight.
Have fun.
Bye-bye, guys.
See ya.
Yeah. Right. So, now, why don't we talk about something like some of the weird-ass cutie marks we've seen in the show, like Grumpy Cat, or...
I don't know, I thought that one suited him pretty damn well.
What the hell?
What?
Like, Derpy, she has bubbles for her cutie mark. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with her job or anything like that.
Yeah, and there's been a couple theories about that. I thought it was pretty funny. Is Doctor Who's in it? Doctor Who's in the Assistant. It's one of my favorite series, and I made a comment about it in my LGBT video. And one of the things that comes up is what does her cutie mark mean? And she goes, I think it's for my bubbly personality. And the Doctor's only response is, well, it could be a bubbly brain, but that could be debated later.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But also, we've seen in, what was it? The Thunderstorm Project videos. Derpy explains that her 7 bubbles represent both luck and fragility.
Yeah, I think I saw that, yeah.
So there's a lot of
That's
explanations
awesome, yeah.
for a lot of different cutie marks, and it's really interesting to see what people have to put into these.
I will say my favorite cutie mark to draw are paws, just because they're so easy to put on a flank.
Yeah.
You literally just take the circle stamp on anything and just go dot, 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 big dot. So easy. I love that cutie mark when it comes to drawing.
So in other words, Sweetie Bloom is your favorite analyst to draw.
I don't know. I've never drawn her. I don't think I've ever drawn her. Matter. Who knows?
She's got her 3 green paw prints on her flank for her cutie
Yeah.
mark?
I don't know. I meant like one big one, but I guess that would work too. Although my cutie mark is really easy to draw, which is another thing, because as anyone who knew me when I started out in this community, I could not do digital art to save my life. It's hideous. Matter of fact, Postscript is the one that did the art for my channel, which I'm forever grateful for, because at that time, it all sucked. I think you took pity on me because the art on my channel was just so bad.
But you had an idea of what you wanted, and I just kind of took that, and it's like we had to do the collab anyway.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and slapped together this couple of things, and I did an edit on my own pony puppet, and I'm still doing that to do collabs, by the way. I did an edit on my pony puppet, made it into your pony, and then basically built this background that seemed more like what your room should look like.
Yeah. Yeah, although my cutie mark, yes, it has a backstory, for the most part, it's just the fact that when I started making my OC, the only really consistent thing was her cutie mark. And that's because I was using paint, and as you know, they have a star tool, and as my character's name was Starlight, I just put 2 stars, and the hoop, it was supposed to be, because there's an anime series out there where the anime girls had these cute little star microphones that have wings on them. Originally it did have wings, but it just looked really crappy, and so I just dropped the wings, and so voila. And yes, it's a push button, so if you push your barrette, it's supposed to come out as the thing. Keep meaning to get the money together to have an animation done for the beginning where, like, a song plays and then, like, she lights up her barrette and, like, her microphone comes out, but what you gonna do?
I may be able to see what I can do, but I can't guarantee anything.
Nah. Animations are so troublesome. If you were to do something like that, I would have to pay you. Or at least trade you, like, multiple art pieces.
You'd be amazed how stupidly easy Flash can make animation.
Yeah. Anyways,
Depending on the type of animation you're doing.
Rosie.
The animation I use for my opening is so stupidly simplistic.
I haven't drawn, like, artwork of you and Rosie in a really long time. I really should, just because my art style has gotten a lot better and more defined since the last art piece I made for you guys. I should.
My
Now we
favorite.
got off onto the topic of how easy what cutie marks are to draw and which ones are more difficult.
Oh, no. By far, my least favorite cutie mark to draw is Silver Streams, and that is why I literally leave it out in almost every art piece I make for him. Because it's just a pain in the ass to make. It is too complicated. It's literally 3 different colored rocks, a stream that is silver, and then grass. It's like, fuck no, it's bad enough I have to do all this extra line work because you're a zebra corn, and so you have stripes. Fuck no.
Yeah.
I always wondered about Twilight's cutie mark, though, because a lot of people have made a mention about the 5 stars around the one big one, and they think those 5 stars represent her 5 friends that helped to create the magic that is her magic of friendship and, you know, the titles stuff and anyway, all that. And I just don't know. I mean, I don't really think they put that much thought into the cutie mark designs when they first started the show, which is why all the cutie marks we've got for the main cast are pretty simplistic, while these new cutie marks we've got for the Crusaders have got way more thought put into them than what they really should have put.
I always thought
Which is
that.
why they don't fit the ponies as well.
No, it's like the power of 3 with most cutie marks, isn't it? It's either 3 or 1, you know?
You know, I always thought that was kind of the point in the first time we seen their cutie marks of the main 6, because, you know, usually because season 1, like, it's more like establishing everything, and going too complicated that early would have made it a lot worse. So they probably just so they went with the simplistic trait that shows you this character has this trait. So there you go, and then we'll see it expand throughout the many episodes until up to this point.
I always felt
And then
like... I always felt that like the 3 cutie marks always meant that like there was more to the cutie mark than what it showed. Where like the single cutie marks, like I always thought that the Grumpy Cat cutie mark, he was probably like a radio talk show host that was, you know, like his shtick was just being a really grumpy asshole. My cutie mark. Oh, come on, look at that pony and tell me he doesn't
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I always thought he looked like Golden Fox. Of course, I only make that comment because of his review on that episode. But
Grumpy Cat does whatever a Grumpy Cat does.
My favorite.
they've actually got an explanation for Cheerilee's cutie mark, because over in Japan, which, you know, where a lot of the magical girl stuff comes from, that's what a lot of the background is for MLP, or Friendship is Magic at least, has some deep, deep roots in magical girl anime and the Disney princess stories. Well, a lot of their design stuff comes from the magical girl anime aspect of it, while a lot of their storytelling comes from the Disney princesses. The design of Cheerilee's cutie mark is very much like the 100% stickers that they put on, or the little flower designs with the smiley faces in them. That's actually an aspect of the education system in Japan, because a lot of teachers will do that for 100% papers.
I had this little thing I used to do with 100% on my papers, where I turned them into smiley faces, but instead of, you know, most people that would just do a little smiley face, I would also add little scribbles for hair, and then they would wear glasses, and then it would be a smiley face.
See, if this thing was based more in that aspect of life, her cutie mark probably would have just been, you know, 2 circles with the dot inside of it and, you know, the curved line underneath it for the smiley face. That would have been her cutie mark. But there's so much aspect in design that they've put in from Japan that this is what her cutie mark is.
Like the giant eyes that make them look like cute little kitty cats. Isn't that why anime girls have such big eyes? Is because it makes them look cute and kitty cat-like?
It's
Pretty
supposed
much.
to be cute, yeah.
Yeah.
And also the Japanese have a fascination with American culture to some degree, so their eyes are drawn much larger than what they intend to draw their own selves with.
Wait, they stereotype us by thinking that we have big eyes?
Our Caucasian eyes are much more wide than Oriental eyes
Alright.
because of natural adaptation.
Yes.
It's just how the different races have developed,
And they're so
physically at least.
Who doesn't want to hug most anime girls? Most anime girls are utterly adorable. Even
And
if
this is why there are pillows with anime girls on them. But we'll get into that aspect another day.
Aw, I want to talk about pillow girls, which, by the way, there's a website you can go to buy them. I have a friend of mine.
Okay.
Oh,
Getting off topics. Cutie marks. Anything else?
but I have a friend who collects these, and it's a girl, and like she just straight up collects the pillowcases. I don't understand it. And it's of girl characters, and she's straight. At least she says she is. Maybe she swings both ways now. Who knows?
Anyway, well, my favorite cutie mark I've seen so far is Cheese Sandwich's cutie mark. Because it's a accordion with cheese in the middle, and it's like bread as well. Because it reflects Weird Al Yankovic's personality in real life, because he is a great accordionist, because he does all the great parody songs he does, like White and Nerdy and Amish Paradise, and also with the cheese in the middle, because some of the songs that he had written have got cheese in them. And also in
He's just a cheesy individual.
and also in the
Sorry.
and also in the MLP sense, because he is a party planner like Pinkie Pie, and he mentions like all the threading and the joy that he does like Pinkie does. So that's my favorite cutie mark I've seen.
I'd have to
Well, what
say
about your favorite, Starlight? What's your favorite cutie mark we've seen in the series so far?
Favorite cutie mark in the whole series. I would have to say it is. I want to say that it's Coco Pomel's.
Coco Pomel's cutie mark is definitely something that's interesting. I liked it too.
And we got to see how she got it, because it was given to her by the person who used to host them, and she got her cutie mark helping make them, and that's why she has a love for designing clothes that are for the stage.
Yep.
How about you, Anime?
Mostly, like, basically any of Twilight's foils cutie marks, because to be honest, they look, every design that I've seen from every foil that Twilight has to face looks pretty amazing and actually gets to the point of why they are a foil.
I will say an interesting cutie mark would be probably a mirror makers, because I like to think that if they had a cutie mark that was a mirror, then you could actually see your reflection in it.
I'm pretty sure Flash isn't gonna do that though.
Aw, come on, it would be so cool. And just imagine.
That'd be a whole lot of extra animation for no point whatsoever. Though I can imagine it being like a picture of a mirror with the big reflection light shining off of it or something like that. I think we may have actually seen a cutie mark like that once. I forget who had it though. We had one of the aspects about the show that I really like is the fact that the crew love to stick cutie marks in as jokes, which is we've gotten to see Snips and Sails, we've gotten to see Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon, every single aspect we've seen of the background characters pretty much is some form or fashion.
I'm just waiting for them to get carried away and put in a cutie mark that has like a double meaning that is totally wrong to put in a kid show. I'm just waiting for that to happen. You know it's going to happen.
That's never going to happen because DHX Studios themselves and Hasbro are way too used to doing stuff family friendly. So they're not going to stick anything in the shows like Pixar does.
No, I don't mean like something that's obviously perverted. I mean something that could be conceded as a double entendre. That's something only mature people would understand, and then to stick it way far in the back.
I'm still waiting because of Snips and Snails, and I've been waiting for this ever since season 1. I'm still waiting for the pony to come in with a puppy's dog tail as a cutie mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then they'll finally have the mental capacity of one boy.
And then all we need is Chemical X.
So, well, this podcast has been pretty fun. Does anyone else have anything else to add into the conversation, or are we pretty good to sign off here?
Do you think there's any kind of, like, we've seen cutie pox, so does that mean there are other diseases with cutie marks?
You know, come to think of it, I would actually want to see a sequel to Cutie Pox, only making sure that it's not too boring. I don't think it's horrible as everybody says it, but I think it's just not that exciting when it was first introduced.
Well, we've seen a lot of stuff involving cutie pox and many things that have changed cutie marks over the course of time. We've seen Magical Mystery Cure, we've seen the cutie map, we've seen cutie pox itself, and that's pretty much the aspects of cutie marks that we've managed to see so far. If they wind up doing anything having to do with a disease of cutie marks, though, it's likely just going to wind up being a repeat of cutie pox, and they're not going to want to just retell the same damn story.
What if instead of random cutie marks appearing, what if cutie marks disappear?
Well, we've already seen that in the cutie map. The cutie marks were just completely ripped off, and you got to see what happened to a pony when they lost the magic of their cutie mark.
I guess you're right, and we've already had a swapping episode too.
And also, when in the season 4 finale, Twilight's Kingdom, where Tyrick drained all of the magic of the Earth ponies, unicorns, and pegasi, and
Their
that
cutie
made
marks
the cutie marks disappear.
Yeah. So we've seen a lot of different aspects of cutie marks, and I don't personally see another angle that they can take a story specifically about cutie marks anymore, or about the magic of cutie marks. Though we, with all this information, we as a community are still throwing headcanons together as to how it all works. And eventually, I'd like to actually have like a full analysis of how all this stuff works and how I read it, and how it all combines. And anyways, that's a video for another day. I may have to get a collab partner on that one. I don't know if that's going to be a big enough project or not.
Okay.
Anyways, but yeah, that's that.
Alright. I'm Starlight Pony, and I'm shining out, and as always, don't forget to sparkle.
This is Rosebud saying, see you later, every pony.
This is the Anime Wolf Gamer, and I hope the next day will be even better.
And this is Postscript of the Brony Crusaders, and as always, I can't wait to hear some of your thoughts and feelings next.